What is up, you guys? Sage here, and today I'm not coming in with the answers, man. Today I'm not coming in with solutions. I just came to vent, I guess, on a struggle that I've been having personally, which is now listen, I'm a heterosexual man, love women very, very much. But my struggle has been to maintain a sort of interest in forming these relationships. Because what I've found, and that's what this is basically going to be about, right? My internal struggles in regard to relations, romantic relationships, etc. My struggle that I've found is a pattern of me looking for people who are kind of like projects for me to work on, pouring into their cup and pouring into them. And then at the end of it, I find that life happens, things happen, relationships end, and I feel this sort of this pain, this betrayal of, man, I took you from wherever to where you are now in terms of your self-confidence, in terms of working on you, in terms of the things that you should be thinking about. I've helped you cultivate a sort of frame of mind that is gonna propel you like into wherever you want to go, right? And to go from that to nothing is difficult. So what I found myself, so as soon as I realized that about myself, about, oh, okay, I look for this type of person. Obviously the first step is an avoidance of that type of person, right? But you also don't want to be blocking something that could be good because of a negative past experience, because then you get burnt by the experience twice, right? The first time is when it happens, the second time is when it's blocking a blessing, right? So yeah, this has been kind of an internal struggle of mine, an internal issue. So now the situation I find myself in is that I'm just not interested in forming when I'm not interested. How can I say? It's very rarely that I find a person that I'm actually genuinely interested in. In the past, the person that I'm interested in is typically someone that I'm finding fault in, right? That I'm like, okay, do you know what? This person is actually a very, very strong person and they're a great person. However, there are these layers that I need to remove. And I feel that as soon as I work to get past this, or as soon as we fix this, then she's gonna be perfect. Type of mentality, and that hasn't worked out very well for me. So I'm done trying to play God. I'm done trying to play Captain Save, whatever the case may be, and I'm now in a place where I'm not kind of looking for someone who is there, but looking for someone who just has those positive key things, just having a list mentally of positive key things. Right now, I'm looking for someone who's gonna help me cultivate thoughts, who's also interested in the things I'm interested in, basically, because that's all I'm interested in these days, right? All I watch. Obviously, I do have downtime. I do have time with, the boys, time with my little brother, time with family, that type of stuff. And I enjoy that very much. I enjoy that time sort of plugging away from the work, work, work. But when it's not that, it's either work, 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 or I would simply enjoy entertaining myself watching whatever the case may be. I like comedy, stand-up comedy, that type of stuff. And I want to do that more so than I want to have these empty conversations of, so how was your day? How did you sleep? Of which in the past I was able to sort of maintain these while I was looking for like said person that I would be interested in. I'd just be like just having conversations, yeah, the pastime, just passing the time to sort of fulfill that part of me that's looking for that companionship. So I would in the meantime, I'd be working on these little projects, fixing this little girl and teaching her how to do this and that. Don't think like that, think like this. Then when I meet that person that I'm actually genuinely interested in, then we start to engage in like a fruitful relationship, and we start learning about intersexual dynamics, etc. And myself in a relationship, what my tendencies are. Hence, we're here today. And I suppose the reason why I'm making this video is that I don't believe in writer's block. I don't believe you get a block mentally in terms of making content. But I believe it's like, it's like when I was very young, I learned this video. It was about picking up girls, right? But I'm gonna bring it back. It's about picking up girls, and it's about when talking to girls, just open your mind, let it flow freely, and whatever comes to mind, talk about it. Doesn't matter what it is. If it comes to mind, just blurt it out, talk about. So that way you never run out of things to talk about. And the fundamental issue that people run into is that they have these topics that they're avoiding. And as soon as you have something on your mind that you don't want to talk about, all you can think about is that thing. For me, that has been relationships. I really don't want to bring that side of things into the content. However, because I'm avoiding speaking about this, it's all I can think of. It's like in the forefront of my mind in a sense. Because it's been on the forefront of my mind, I thought, let me just address it. Let's just get it off my chest and move on from it. And if it comes back again, then I'll touch it. If it doesn't, then so be it. But I made a video recently. It was about my fundamental belief when it comes to this. My fundamental belief still is find someone that you believe in and believe in them even when it doesn't make sense. Now, when I made this, I laughed in the beginning because I said my advice when it comes to relationships. Because I've been burnt and I've been burnt with this belief. But my learning is that in finding this person, it's not necessarily find someone with those positive traits that you believe in and hope it all works out. It's more so an alignment that I have neglected in the past. I can't lie. This is my theory at the moment, and this is what I'm looking for, is the alignment of the goals overall and how the two lives are going to be integrated and how that's going to be able to work out is what I'm looking for currently. Because ultimately, the fact of the matter is this. I'm a young man, I'm a young ambitious man. I want to do certain things. If the person that I'm dealing with is distracting from those things, that is going to be a net negative on myself. And I feel that that has been the downfall that I've run into thus far, is that I will deal with these people, I will pour into them, I will help them move in the direction that they want to move, positively impact them. But at the end of it, when that relationship doesn't work out, all I was working on was the relationship. And in working on the relationship, there was no true working on myself, in a sense. Not to say that I've been perfect. I know that I've made mistakes, but it was more so a realization of myself that I've made those mistakes than it was them sort of building on me or helping me build myself and discover myself. It was more me actively, as I'm pouring into them, I'm discovering, okay, why am I pouring into this? Why do I look for these things? It's more so an introspection than it is them kind of working with me. So I believe that's what's next for me, is to find someone who is just interested in the things I'm interested in, so that ultimately in spending time doing those things, it brings me closer to them in a sense. And we will always have stuff to talk about because we're both interested in doing certain things. Not necessarily we both like soccer or we both like rugby, not necessarily in the small interest, because there have to be those spaces in between so you have room to miss each other. I think of this in the same way I think of my relationship with work, right? With my work is, of course, I want to spend most of my time doing it, but that's just because I love doing it, right? So, but I do need those spaces in between. I do need that time, that day even, or sometimes I take a weekend. Sometimes I don't take a weekend. Sometimes I'll work through the weekends. But other times I'll just take the weekend off. Sometimes I'll take a day off. Sometimes I'll spend the whole day just working. And I think that that's about creating that healthy separation, is on that weekend, after that weekend where I haven't even touched a book. On the Monday, I'm thirsty for knowledge. I'm grateful that I've had this distance away, because I remember how much I miss it and why it's useful to me and why I do it. So those subtle differences are important to keep the spaces in between so that you kind of miss each other. But the directional correctness, the directional synergy of the goals ultimately, I believe is what I'm looking for right now. Or more so, if we're gonna make it micro and we're gonna make it a checklist thing, and we're gonna be really specific with myself, I'm really looking for someone who's also into reading, someone who's also has somewhat of an opinion politically, someone who also has some sort of goal or ambition for themselves, or yeah, is just gonna pour into my cup in that sense. And I believe it is in that we're going to be pouring into each other's cups while at the same time chasing this dream. That's where I'm at right now. Um, yeah, that's really where I'm at right now. And hopefully doing this, getting this off my chest is going to be good because hopefully it'll allow me to move on. But I think that's pretty much it. That's my take on relationships. Please, Lord, remove this from my heart because I really don't want to talk about this again. I don't want to be a relationship guy. I'm not a relationship guy. And luckily, I'm going to drop this on a Friday, and Friday videos don't get that many views. If you guys view this, bro, I'm going to be so livid because I don't want to talk about this. But hopefully, people who do view it, if anyone views it, find it useful in some sense in terms of how to go about things, how to think of things. And ultimately, my point is, thank you for watching. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. Sage. Also, one last thing that I ultimately really wanted to add, a point I really wanted to hit when I was making this, is don't just look for a good girl. Don't just look for a girl who is just doing her thing. She's nice. She's maybe a homebody. You know, all these positive qualities that we do want in a person, right? Don't just look for those things and assume that it's for you just because she hits these certain check marks. That alignment is very necessary, is what I found. And that's what I learned ultimately in my last relationship is, even though she did check, I literally made a list and she checked the things on that list, but the alignment wasn't there. So ultimately, it ended up not working out, and it was probably never going to, right? Because even though I'm a good dude, she's a good person as well. If that's not there, then in the end, you know, it's always going to be something. There's always going to be a thing. Something's always going to happen where if that core is not stable, it's not rigid, it falls apart. Thanks again for watching. Bye.